Hi there, Monica and I are just going to take a look through poetry, and we're going to go through the experience of setting up a workspace and testing out some of the features. So when I log into my own poetry workspace, I then have the ability to create a new space for a new customer. I'm going to create one for a company called Workato. I have to say as a disclaimer, this is not a customer of ours. I don't know anybody at this company. It's just chosen at complete random. Workato, here we go. Go to workspace. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is I need to contextualize the workspace so that it is perfect for this organization. I'm going to go to auto-populate, Workato, workato.com, figure AI, and this will take about 60 seconds. And what it's doing is populating a questionnaire, which is all about the company's vision and mission and values and purpose and employer value proposition and that type of thing. It's reading the company's website. It's reading other trusted sources of information that we point to get this information. It's going to look at the career site, and it's going to attempt to grab what are the teams and job titles and locations that this company hires for as well. So things like, what does the company do? What's the company's employer value proposition, etc. Okay, so here are some of the teams within this company, some of the job titles, and some of the locations the company hires in. Okay, so there are before. Go ahead.
What if these values ever change if we, as this company, come up with new team descriptions, refresh our employer branding?
Absolutely. It's really important that admins have got the ability to edit everything. So I go into the hamburger menu and then configuration, company info, and in here, what does your company do? Why was it started? What's its core values and principles? Now, this is, of course, reading from the internet to develop this. So it is important that admins at the beginning go and do take a look through this and make sure it's correct. Things like, for example, the employer value proposition. Now, the EVP for this company, if it is a published statement, then this will be exactly what it is. If not, then poetry is attempting to deduce what is the EVP based on other information that it's pulling together. So it's likely that the team might have to do something with this. The other thing you can do in here is, the default for us, it's UK English, but you might want to change that to US English. You might want to change it to another language, for example. So what that means is that every time the content's produced, it's produced by default in the language that is the company's main default language. However, an individual user can go into their profile and then they can change their own. So if I'm at Workato and it's US English, then what I can do is, let's say I'm working in Spain, I could just change my default language to Spanish. And then I can do that at the individual asset level as well. Okay, so the other things that we might want to do to set the workspace up to make it really perfect for our organization is go into admin. In org, this is where I can, if the teams need some additional teams or job titles or different locations, for example, that's where I can go and edit that. I could also
it's
then
like
go
a
into
standard setup in your ATS. Every once in a while, you have to take a look and make sure everything is, according to the current version.
Absolutely. Yeah, you'll iterate and you will periodically, yes, do that. The other thing I can do is I can go into permissions and I can set up different user profiles. So I could have a recruitment marketer user. I could have a talent sourcer user. And then what I can do is I can choose which types of content or which solutions are they going to have access to or not have access to. Because there's quite a comprehensive range of solutions that we've got in here. But for example, landing page copy, like talent sources might not build landing pages, whereas recruitment marketers might not build Boolean strings. So you only want them to have the things that they need on their desktop and feeding into their individual playbooks as well. Okay, so there's quite a lot of different things that you can do in terms of really making this your own. And then within if I just go back to the process area, this is where I can add in things like, this is our recruitment process, and this is how we raise a rec, and this is how we commit to our hiring managers and things like that. You add in all these documents in here, and also within the assets area, you can upload any files and things you want in there. Poetry reads all of this in the context of like creating all the content so that everything is always on brand. It's always in context. Okay. There is a central management area for this, but also within individual solutions, let's say for candidate interviews, I can go and select, if I click on the cog, right? What are the interview processes, stages that we have? Okay, so we've got some defaults in here, the default interview template, an engineering template, a culture first template, for example. But this is where you can go in and you can amend what are the different stages and types of interview processes that we want in here. Like, do we want behavioral or screening or whatever it might be? Is it a closed questions or open questions or a scenario? And which stage is that for? And we can connect those to specific teams. So if we always want a specific type of interview question for marketing teams, or we always want a specific type of interview question for people that are based in Hong Kong, jobs in Hong Kong, or whatever it might be, then this is where we can sort of administer all of that. And I can do that for my job adverts, and I can do that for, the other solutions that I have in here. So 90% of the usage is the playbook. So I'm a recruiter at Workato. I go into my playbook. I'm hiring for a product development job. It is a product manager. It's based in Los Angeles. I just click on the build all playbook assets. It's going to take approximately 20 seconds, and it's going to develop 17 essential items of talent intelligence, or what we call research. It's giving me sourcing assets like Boolean strings and outreach messaging, recruitment marketing content like job adverts and social media posts, and operational recruitment materials like my job descriptions and candidate interview questions. Now, if I have this,
wonderful. It takes days for a recruiter, maybe the good ones like hours to over multiple days to create all these assets. This is brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the key thing we're looking to do here. Now, in the age of generative AI and in the age of like ChatGPT and things like that, the argument might be, well, I could do a lot of this stuff on there. You can do some of that stuff on here. We have got a lot of third-party plugin information that's enriching this, especially in the talent insights. And the other really important thing is that because this is embedded with all the brand locks and the templates, it means that every time the recruiter builds something, it's always on brand and it's always in context. So, I mean, I hear it every single day. I'm talking to talent acquisition teams where there's like people who sit next to each other and they're on Copilot or something like that, and they're developing job adverts and interview questions, and they're all completely out of context because they're not embedded with the employer brand messaging, and they're not embedded with the right intros and outros and the right call to action and the right hashtags and whatever it might be. So this ensures everything's absolutely consistent.
Right.
So
And if I have a team of recruiters, can any of this be recycled or shared within?
100%, really, really important aspect to this is the collaboration. So when we were doing our research before we created this company and this product, we learned that it's a frustration for talent acquisition leaders or HR leaders that when a recruiter leaves, yes, they're leaving everything that they've done in the applicant tracking system, but actually 50% of what they do is building all the assets and it's developing all the intelligence. And that's going out in the main folder that that's stored in is their brain, and it's all going out in that. So it was really important to be able to have a central workspace where everyone could benefit from each other's work. And when I go into solutions, like I'll show you in the competitor solution, for example, where everything somebody adds in there, everybody gets access to each other's. And so there's a cumulative, effect of the information building up, a network effect. So here's what's in this playbook. I mean, I don't know anything about hiring product development jobs in Los Angeles. You'll know more about it than me, but so here's the challenges and responsibilities. Notice that for most of the research, I've got a summary, but I can also go into detail, and that gives me more. Okay. And we wanted to make sure that this was all bite-sized and digestible, even in the detail area. A lot of talent intelligence products are really overwhelming for recruiters. They produce like so much stuff, big packs of materials that's like you gotta have a PhD to understand a lot of it. So we wanted to make it really accessible for the recruiters that's handling like 4 new recs every single day. Okay, so here's the challenges and responsibilities in this job. Here's relevant courses related to this job in this location, the strategic value of the role. Notice we've always got a summary and we've got a bit more detail if we want. The automation potential. We created this because recruiters were telling us that the hiring managers were regularly saying, I think I need to hire a new job to replace Sally or whatever. But actually, maybe we could do this in other ways. So we wanted to equip the recruiter with total talent advisory, recommended skills and qualifications. As you can see, we've got a summary, click on detail, and this goes into more detail if the recruiter wants. We wanted to make sure, unlike traditional sort of talent intelligence products, we wanted to make sure that this was digestible, bite-sized for the recruiter that's handling 5 new jobs every day. Salary range and benefits. We use things like Glassdoor and PayScale, for example, to surface this information. Similar job titles, job board suggestions. So this would be where to advertise. When I click on detail, I've got the specific strengths, ROI, and other notes. The largest employers for this type of job. Now, I did set this workspace up brand new, so there's no competitor cards in here. But if there was, you just click on the addition sign. That takes you. The addition sign would be an I sign. You click on that, and it takes you straight into the competitor card for that organization. The companies with the best career opportunities for product managers. These are all cool companies. The characteristics of employers that hire for this type of job and industry insights, remote work trends, diversity trends, commutable locations, where there's people that can do this job, turnover and growth rates, and demand v supply. So it's taken me like 2-3 minutes to digest that information, and I'm now ready for a hiring manager conversation. So here's the structure.
Can this get a little bit even more custom? Say I'm a recruiter and then I will have the intake meeting with hiring manager. They give me a bunch of information. How do I integrate it with what I already created?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I can do is I can go back to the playbook itself. I can click on the add additional information. I can upload the transcript from the intake call, and then I can click the rebuild button. It rebuilds it all with that additional context. So yeah, it's a great question, and it's a really wonderful workflow. So now I'm ready for my hiring manager kickoff meeting. Now, because I only did the sort of auto-populate, auto-configuration on this workspace, this is not this company's specific template for this or for job adverts or whatever, but this is a default for Poetry. But you can go and amend the templates in all the different solutions. So this is how we're going to structure our meeting with the hiring manager, the head of product. Here's my Boolean string. Search Google product managers in and near Los Angeles. Here's my outreach messaging for in-mails or whatever it might be. Conversation guides. This is how we'd structure an elevator pitch for phoning up the person. Objection handling responses. Brand adverts, if we need a carousel for a volume campaign on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever. Email copy, if we've got people in the CRM we want to reach out to. Workato's employer value proposition contextualized for the talent persona of a product manager. Job advert, landing page copy, talent persona, social media post, job description. Skills-based hiring tells me what are the jobs with an overlap in the skills required, and interview questions. So you can have defaults. The default here is it's behavioral, it's open for the second stage, but you can have different defaults that come in here. So if I just go back to the playbook itself, I can now click share. That's monica@pato.com. So when I share that with the hiring manager, and they click through the link to look at the playbook. They can come in and add comments. This will say when they access the playbook. I'll get a notification up here if the hiring manager leaves me any comments, and then I can come in and amend the playbook if I need to. So great for collaboration.
Yeah, it looks really easy to use. However, it seems like there is a certain setup that needs to happen. Can you tell me how Poetry will support me in rolling this out in my company?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is self-guided workflow that you can follow, which says, okay, do this, now do this, now do this. And alternatively, somebody in the team or one of our customer success professionals will work directly with each customer, up to 5 hours worth of support. I'd recommend just getting that done like within 2 days. You're not going to need 5 hours of support to get the workspace up and running. You might need one or two. And then what we can do is we can do some training sessions with the recruiters as well to show them what to do. But you're right, it is very straightforward.
Yes, I'd love
So,
some human touch when we get started.
yes. So beyond the playbook, there are a couple of other solutions that don't feed into that. I just wanted to quickly mention. So one is there's a library for processes, there's a library for policies, anything that's in here. This does, it's for accessing that. If you've got those in there for recruiters to be able to quickly access what's our policy for maternity or what's our process for hiring in Belize or whatever it might be. But also the information in here all feeds into the generative AI. There's this team learning solution, which it's not like a best of breed e-learning solution. It's a straightforward, easy to use. This is how we do advertising. This is how we do assessment. This is how we do CRM. It's very easy for me as an admin. I've got the admin buttons in the bottom to get rid of this placeholder image, upload a deck, upload a video, change the text. And then anybody new that's joining the team can access this. Any new things you want to share with the team, you can use that solution. And of course, you can share that with hiring managers as well. It might be part of their induction is to review certain things in here so they understand how we do hiring for our team. Now, my favorite solution is this competitors area. There's nothing pre-loaded in here, but I know that Boomi, for example, is a competitor for Workato. So I just click create competitor. It'll take 10 or 20 seconds to develop a competitor card. Okay, and so it's got a bit of information about Boomi in here. I can click generate insights, which it's reviewing Glassdoor, it's reviewing Indeed reviews and things like that, and it's going to tell me about their strengths and weaknesses and leadership and things like that. I can also click generate detailed, so you can see here in terms of insights on compensation, okay, and then strengths, this company as an employer, leadership, this company as an employer. I know some of these people actually. And then about their culture as well. So it's
Right, this can
aggregating.
really help close a candidate who has multiple offers on the table, right?
Absolutely, exactly. And then in terms of the detailed summary, I mean, here's literally the script for that. So Boomi versus Workato, company vision and innovation, Boomi and Workato, talking point for recruiters, product scope and market impact, Boomi and Workato, talking point for recruiters. So it's a variety of career-related factors. And then if I come down to the bottom, there's a bit of a conclusion and like really giving you kind of what you should emphasize. So it's quite straightforward to set up. There's a lot of things in here. It's typically saving recruiters 25% of their time every day. I would say that it's really optimal for experienced hire recruiters. So if I'm in the graduate space or I'm in the volume space, yes, I'm going to get some benefits from this. If I'm in the experienced hire area where I do need that talent intelligence and I need the assets to be really perfect for my company and I need the background. I'm working on a product job one day and a secretary job the other day and a marketing job at the same time. It's really kind of giving me all the support to be able to do a great job.
Awesome, wonderful. Let's talk more about bring my team over on Poetry.
Thanks, Monica.